This is a little tutorial for understanding adaptive release and the English credit recovery courses. First of all, we have English 1 credit recovery and English 2 credit recovery, and these do not use adaptive release at all. Students can see the content immediately. They quite feasibly could skip around, and they aren't really able to skip over any material. It's always available to them at all times. So here's an English 2A credit recovery, and we see inside this unit students have access to every single item, and the only real difference, what really makes this a credit recovery course, is that students can take a quiz and exam up to 5 times. So that's English 1 and English 2 credit recovery. When you get to English 3 credit recovery, we can call this a backwards adaptive release, if you will. When students open up a section, or a unit, I'm sorry, students will be able to see the next section and the quiz, the next section and a quiz. They can take the quiz without reviewing the material, but ideally we want them to review the material. So students have access to both at the same time, and the only item, so it forces them to work in order, and it forces them to complete things as they come to them. One little note with English, mostly with English 3B credit recovery, if there's a discussion board assignment that needs to be completed or graded, students will not be able to move on to the next section until that discussion board has been completed or the teacher has graded the discussion board. So that's a little note with 3B credit recovery. So make sure that you're checking the discussion board and seeing if there's any posts in there to be graded. Finally, we get to English 4 credit recovery. All right, this is our traditional true credit recovery with full-blown adaptive release. And in this course, when students first open up a unit, they will only see the introduction. And so students need to open this up. They need to proceed through the material. When they finally finish the material, they'll need to follow their breadcrumb back. And now that they've reviewed it, so they're going to click Marked Review. This will open the next quiz. I apologize, it won't open 2 quizzes at once, but for the sake of our example, it will open the next quiz, and so students will take the quiz without actually looking at the course material. It's kind of like a pre-test. If a student passes this quiz with a 70% or higher, then they will automatically skip whatever course material there is. They'll skip the diagnostic reading course material, and the new quiz will automatically open up for them. So feasibly, if a student passes every single quiz with a 70% or higher, they might never open up any course material and read through the sections. It's quite possible, it happens. But if a student takes a quiz and does not pass, they have a 69% or lower, this is what you'll see. They'll take the quiz and then the new material will pop open for them. And so again, students need to open up the material. They will work their way through this section. When they're done working through the section, they'll follow their breadcrumb trail back. They will click Marked Reviewed, and then the next quiz will open up for them. All right, so it's just a little helpful thing. Students sometimes freak out when they see it. They're like, where's the course? Where's the material? So as long as you help them understand that this is normal, this is the way it is, you have to go in order, quizzes have to be passed. If they don't pass it, they'll get an opportunity to take it again. So this is kind of the important note with English 4 credit recovery, A and B. The other issue with this is that sometimes students in English 4A credit recovery and 4B credit recovery, they have projects to complete, and students who've passed most of the quizzes, they will never see this information until the very end of the unit, so it can be a little confusing. There are 2 ways that students can find the information. One is to go in the orientation button, and if we could see here, there's a table of contents, and students can access any section just by going through the table of contents. However, this is a little complex and it's tricky for students, and we want to make it as easy as possible for our students to get around and to be successful in our course. Therefore, this is why it is really important that you make sure that your 4A and 4B credit recovery courses have folders with project links. They might not come pre-set up in your class, so you will need to do this yourself. There's a K-12 training document that tells you how to do this, and it's very helpful, walks you through step by step. If you get confused or need help, please reach out to me, Stacy Barnes, and I will help you. But this makes it really easy for students who are looking for all the project parts. They can open up this folder and look, part 1 opens up in a new window, and students can see part 1. All right, and that is done for all 4 parts, so that students are still hitting these standards. We need them to target these standards, the reading, speaking, listening, writing standards. So please make sure that you add those folders. It's a really great trick created by one of our awesome teachers, so make sure that you're using that training doc to open that up. Finally, the last item that you want to do is please be very careful with your course setup. I'm going to show you the teacher view right now. All quizzes and exams should be set for 5 attempts. However, some of our new courses aren't coming to us completely set up, so you're going to need to go into every single quiz and check. It's the same as checking for passwords. Click on the little drop down arrow, click on edit the test options, scroll down, and as you can see, this quiz right here is not marked, so you need to mark multiple attempts, number attempts, and type in 5. Everything else should be correct except for way down here. You want to make sure that correct answers and feedback are not checked. If you mark correct answers, then students will automatically see the correct answers the first time they take the quiz, and then they can just use those correct answers when they take the quiz again. So first, make sure that multiple attempts is checked and that you've written in 5 attempts. Passwords aren't necessary for quizzes, and then down here, test feedback, only the score and submitted answers should be checked. The other 2 are unchecked. Make sure you submit that and save. So please make sure you do that for every single quiz. It should take you about 15 minutes, but it's really important. It will save you and your students a lot of heartache. Otherwise, the adaptive release won't be working. And then on your exams, you also want to make sure it's giving students 5 attempts. And in addition to those 5 attempts, you want to make sure that the password is checked and that this password matches what's in peak.k12.com. All right, this way everyone's on the same page, and students have to enter the password for the exams. And again, correct answers and feedback should not be checked. All right, I believe that wraps us up. If you have any questions about adaptive release, specifically for English 4 credit recovery, please don't hesitate to email me, Stacy Barnes at getfuel.com. And we'll make sure you have my email address. And also, the final thing, if you check out Edulink, there is an adaptive release goodies folder. Just type in adaptive release, do a little search, and you'll see several announcements and some email templates that should be helpful as well as you're getting familiar with adaptive release. Thank you so much.